Hi, I'm Warren Zenna, founder and CEO of the CRO Collective, and welcome to the CRO Spotlight podcast. This show is focused exclusively on the success of chief revenue officers. Each week, we have an open, frank, and free-form conversation with top experts in the revenue space about the CRO role and its critical impact on B2B businesses. This podcast is the place to be for CROs, sales and marketing leaders who aspire to become CROs, and founders who are looking to appoint a CRO or want to support their CRO to succeed. Thanks for listening. Now let's go mix it up.
Hey, everybody. This next conversation that I have with Mike Genstil over at ValueCore was a sponsored conversation. Mike was great. They came over, they did a sponsorship of one of our CRO roundtables. And, I believe very much in what they're doing. I think they have an amazing offering and they solve a really major problem. So I asked Mike to have a conversation with me about their offering and the solution and the reason why it matters to chief revenue officers. And it was a really great conversation. So look forward to hearing it, listen, and I will see you soon. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Warren. How are you?
Good to see you. So yeah, I wanted to do this because, Mike and his company, ValueCore, were great in supporting some of the work that we've done. And more importantly, I think that what it is that ValueCore is doing is really important to chief revenue officers. I don't think they think about it enough. And I thought that Mike and I could have a really good conversation about what they do and why it matters and a little bit more about how they do it. Because I do believe that I don't see enough conversation going on about value engineering when their companies are selling products to their customers and analyzing that. So if you don't mind, I'd love to hear a bit more about you and your background. And then if you don't mind, talk a bit about this value engineering idea and why it matters today for CROs.
Sure. Thanks, Warren. So I started my career as a strategy consultant, joined a company in Boston, which was a Bain spinoff called Corporate Decisions, ultimately was sold to Mercer. And I became quickly a student of how to calculate benefits, build models, show data visually. And over time, as I took on roles in product management and channel sales at places like Adobe, Cloudflare, New Relic, it became clear that this concept of helping buyers and sellers to engage around value was a big problem. Basically, any kind of interaction with a partner that I was trying to recruit or a partner that I was trying to enable as a channel manager, channel leader at places like Adobe and Cloudflare, and then as I supported the direct sales function at New Relic, when I became the leader of the value team, there's this gap, and we call it kind of the value gap, where the buyer comes to a call with some notion of what bundle of features they think they want. They have an idea of what they think they're going to pay or what budget they might have for this. And the seller comes into the conversation, hoping to close a sale at the maximum price and perhaps put a square peg into a round hole to help the buyer agree to that price through a variety of negotiation tactics, versus starting the conversation from the perspective of Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, we're here today because there's a number of problems you probably have in your organization. We want to confirm what those issues are, and we want to confirm what they might be costing your organization. Once we have gained alignment around that, we can talk about the value of our service, and then we can talk about the price of our service to achieve those things. So that whole type of conversation is very rare, and buyers often race to get a price quote from a sales rep, and a sales rep generally accommodates to give some type of price quote without that value conversation.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I hear this a lot, and I think that this sounds to me like it's a combination of issues. One is that organizations tend to be more driven around certain KPIs, which is, if I'm on the phone with a customer and they give me a budget, that's an indication that they're serious, right? So I'm going to get them to give me some budget. And if they give me a budget number, then I'm able to put that in my CRM and then tell my manager that, well, look, they gave us a budget number. So now we know how much money they want to spend. And that sends an upward signal to the organization that this is a good live deal and now they can pursue it, as opposed to doing more diligence on how the product that they're selling is going to have an impact on the company, where sometimes they may even find more budget if that can be determined, and I'm curious to know if your view is like, I'm making an assumption because I've been doing a lot of management of sales teams in my career. So I know that this is the case, but why is it you think that we're not seeing, let's call it the term value engineering, more of just a commonplace thing, that when an organization is speaking to a customer, that before they get into talking about features, they do a much more diligent process of understanding what the bottom line impact is going to be on the organization and do some calculations on that to help verify for that person to sell through this offering to the rest of the people in their buying committee, just exactly how much value we're going to get out of this thing. And that you've done a way to show that it wasn't sort of theoretical, like there was actually data behind it. And like, I'm curious to know, in your view, why this is not something that's just like a matter of fact across organizations and it still needs to be like pushed. I'm amazed at that.
Yeah, it's a great question, Warren. And the corollary to the value engineer in many organizations is the sales engineer or the solution architect or the solution consultant. And just talking about organizations sell some type of technical solution, you'll typically see a ratio of one solution engineer or solution consultant to every 2, 3, 4 sales reps. And the assumption is, if I'm going to sell a product to a customer, the customer is going to want to do a technical deep dive at some point, and that's where the solution architect, the solution engineer comes in. Mm-hmm. Makes sense to everybody.
Yep.
Now, so then to your question, why would you not see that same concept for value engineers? When you do see a value engineering team in place, the ratio is quite different. You'll tend to see one value engineer supporting between 20 and 50 sales reps, sometimes up to 100 sales reps. And so that person, I've had that role, ends up getting stretched a bit, and there's a lot of triage involved. I think the reason that this is not commonplace, as you say, is a couple of things. Number one, the way this has been set up in many cases is a kind of a long interview / data extraction process from the customer. Customer doesn't always have the data you would want them to have. Or if they have it, they may not be fully willing to share it to give you everything you need to do a full value analysis. And I don't think that's a good excuse not to have a value engineer, because I think even if the customer doesn't have or doesn't share all of that data, you still must accompany your price quote, whether it's $50,000 or $200,000, with some rough estimate of value based on the data you do have. And you can't really put together a $200,000 price quote without understanding something about the customer's environment to put together the price quote in the first place. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of item number one. There's a willingness to share data. Number two is the people don't put the best infrastructure in place to measure the success of these value engineers. In my experience, when people have had value engineers on staff, they pay for themselves 3x, 5x, 10x in terms of the salary you're paying them and relative to the booked business that they are associated with. So they are very effective in most cases. When it gets, when budgets are tight, CFOs tend to want to keep folks that are quota carrying versus people that are not quota carrying. And I would argue that these value engineers should have a quota component to their comp, and they should be accountable for revenue, and they can deliver it. So those are some of the aspects. But I agree with you. It is something that probably should be commonplace at this point.
Yeah, I agree. It also seems to me that it's probably something that is likely more akin to higher ticket products, right? When you get a lot of committee buyers involved, and there's going to be a controller involved, maybe even some CFO is going to be involved. And, because certain product offerings reach a threshold where other people need to be brought into the conversation because it reaches that investment threshold. If you're selling PLG motion where it's a sign up and it's, $50 a month. Obviously this might be something that you have to do longer term once they decide to bring in 100 more people. But at that point, they've probably used it enough with one or two people that they see the ROI, and now they just want to spread that across. If I'm selling in something that's very complex, like a enterprise software, enterprise system level stuff, you're going to get a buying committee, and there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on, even if they're at the point where they know they need this, like they've made a determination that the organization needs this, and they're in a process of evaluating other organizations. I think that my opinion is a value engineering process that's really good will probably make a difference in the way that you can get the buyer to believe, because I think you're 100% correct about this. I see a need for and a utilization of sales engineers a lot. I mean, you need someone to come in that's smart and can talk about features and, technologies and specific nuances of integrations into their business environment and whatnot. Those are important things because, it's funny, but, when you're talking to people who are buying products, they tend to have a lot of feature questions. How does this work? And and so you get all caught up in a lot of that stuff, as opposed to, what's the impact going to have? And I believe that weirdly, buyers are not as conscious of this either. They tend to be really focused on features a lot of the time, right? They want to know how this works and is it going to work in my system, and what's it going to bump into? Is my IT company organization getting pissed off about this? Are there regulatory issues? Are there data issues? As opposed to saying, I need you to do me a better job of walking me through exactly how this is going to help my bottom line. And, if you have someone introduced into the conversation earlier, right, with a process that is really well designed, that is able to take information from the customer about that, I think two things happen. One is the obvious, which is that they get to see some numbers about, wow, okay, so we'll save this much money, or we'll save this much time, or we'll make this much more money, whatever those things are. But also the process of building a value engineering conversation is the best kind of discovery call, because you're going to ask them all these questions about what they're currently doing right now and the inefficiencies they have. So I just see there's 3 or 4 obvious benefits to this process. And I think it should be like table stakes for businesses.
Yeah. I would take it one step further. It's actually a little bit more robust and complex in analysis. So any buyer looking at a particular vendor solution has 5 to 6 choices, right? Choice number 1 is do nothing. Keep doing what they're doing. Choice number 2 is build some new capability. Choice number 3 is choose this vendor that I'm talking to. And then I've got choices 4 through 7, which are 3 to 4 competitive alternatives. That's a lot of choices in front of the buyer. And I can say in defense of organizations that perhaps don't have the full-time value engineer, the value engineer should truly be equipping the seller to sell against those 6 or 7 decisions that buyer is making. Because the buyer's job is really, really hard. They have to go back to their internal teams and say, not only am I asking for budget of dollars, but I'm asking for a bunch of people's time to spend money on this project, as opposed to these other things, which is a huge opportunity cost. And there's no buyer that is going to be equipped to tell that fully robust story with all those options for our time and our money, et cetera, to a CFO. And so I think where value engineering is going to be going, and thanks to AI, we're going to start getting there more quickly, is equipping that buyer with that robust set of choices, which include, the risk of all those options, the probability of success, et cetera. So in any case, to solve this is partially process, partially people, but then also technology, which we're going to get to here.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about that. So now you mentioned that there are obviously this is a sector. I mean, how many companies are there out there right now that specialize in value engineering solutions? Is it like a big sector? Is it crowded? And if so, what's the typical customer look like? Where do you guys fit in the competitive ecosystem?
Yeah. So this space, customer value management, has evolved quite a bit in the last 10 to 15 years. Through about 4-ish years ago, there were 4-ish main players, us being one of them. And others, we were known as Visualize ROI at that time. We launched this product in 2011. It was live on Salesforce App Exchange in 2012. So we are one of the companies that has been innovating and pioneering in this space since day one. And we worked with the largest and best companies globally, from Cisco to SAP to Lenovo and many, many others. What's happened now in the past 3 to 4 years has been a crop of new entrants into the market that are leveraging some of the AI capabilities to build business cases quickly, efficiently, but perhaps not with the robustness that enterprise organizations will need to tie into the rest of your marketing, sales, customer success technology stacks, listen to all the data they're getting out of the Gong call recordings, and then give the agility to the people that are creating the pricing models for the companies and the value models to be able to maintain and manage them effectively over time. So where ValueCore fits is we are leveraging the robust infrastructure we've built over time, which allows us to walk into any company and say, if you have a value model today or a pricing model in the form of some type of questions, discovery guide, pricing sheet, spreadsheet, et cetera, we can ingest that and now bring it online and make it visually engaging and available to your entire pre-sales and post-sales teams. We can tie it into your CRM if you want. Or if you don't have a model, we can leverage what we can determine about your company from publicly available and privately available information, what your competitors and the analysts are talking about in the industry, to build a model for you very quickly, and then give you the keys so you can maintain it over time. But the key aspects to a platform here that are going to be highly adopted and highly usable over time are, number one, it can help your pre-sales team and your post-sales team, and it can be the same type of logic can flow from the pre-sales model into the post-sales model. Number two is visual appeal, so it has to be very visually engaging, both for sellers as well as for buyers. Number three is output formats. It needs to be able to generate dynamic customer-facing materials in the form of PowerPoint docs, Google Slides docs, PDF docs, Word docs that can be easily shared with customers. And then finally, integration. So it needs to be really easily tied into all of your pre-sales and post-sales systems, which include CRM, customer success platforms, data sets, et cetera, so that you get the biggest bang for the buck out of your whole stack.
Thank you so much again for listening to the CRO Spotlight podcast. This podcast is an important plank in the CRO Collective communication strategy, and we're really thrilled to have such great guests on here. So listening and sharing the podcast with other people is really vital, because we want to get as many people listening to this great stuff as possible. A couple of things to note. If you're a aspiring CRO or a recently hired CRO or even an old salty CRO, and you're looking to either become a chief revenue officer or improve your chops and gain some more insights and improve your competencies as a chief revenue officer, we offer the CRO Accelerator course. It's 5 years now. It's the first CRO-focused course that was out there. It's a 15-week course that is populated by aspiring chief revenue officers and CROs. We're pretty selective in terms of who can be a member of the CRO Accelerator course. It's people who are probably more ready to be a CRO right now. They have a number of years under their belt as a revenue leader, whether it be a sales leader or a marketing leader or even RevOps leader. And they either want to move into the C-suite, or they're CROs that want to just make sure that they win in the role. So if you are interested in being a member of the next cohort, please just write me a note on LinkedIn. Just DM me, CRO Accelerator, and we'll set up a time to talk. And then I can send you more information to give you a brochure of the course. So again, CRO Accelerator course, 15-week program for aspiring and newly hired CROs. Take advantage of it. It's been great. And you'll see some more information about it on the website. Thanks. And you don't mind me being a bit more specific now. So what is a typical, maybe give me an anecdote of the type of ways in which you uncover that process and the data to verify what a investment return will be? And then how is it evaluated after the sale to make sure that in fact was realized?
Okay, I think what you're asking is for a given customer of ours, how do we specifically go through and quantify the value that their solution delivers to their customer?
Correct.
There's an aspect which relates to the sector that they're selling into. So we work with cybersecurity companies, we work with HR tech vendors, we work with billing automation vendors. All three very distinct value propositions for each of those. What they have in common is a number of things. CFOs care about a set of items which they can wrap their minds around. Is it saving me money, number one? Are there hard cost savings? If I give this vendor $50,000, am I going to get $60,000 or more back from someone else? Number two, productivity gains. Is this solution going to help my team save time? Am I going to minimize my reliance on third-party contractors, et cetera? Number three, revenue acceleration. Is this solution going to help me acquire more customers, retain more customers, accelerate my time to lead, reduce my customer acquisition cost, et cetera? If that can be measured in some way through some amount of attribution, that's great. I'm very excited about that as a CFO. Fourth is risk mitigation. Today, let's call it my billing system. I have a way of billing my customers. Right now, a certain percentage of my invoices that go out are incorrect. A certain percent of my invoices that get paid are paid late. So I have in my system areas to optimize to get better performance. Can this vendor optimize my performance, mitigate my risk so that I get better returns out of my system? So those are the four main buckets, Warren. And when we go into a specific customer, we look at their materials. How do you present your value proposition today? What does your website talk about? What do your case studies talk about? What do your competitors talk about? So we build a lexicon and a taxonomy of value drivers for their particular product and service. And of course, we've done this long enough that we can walk into a cybersecurity company and have a good sense for what that's going to look like. And now we can kind of massage it, make it very fine-tuned based on that customer's specific product and materials.
Gotcha. So how does AI play a role in this? People are probably eager to know what data points and what platforms you use to generate these things. What are the inputs that you need that AI can do the work it does? Walk us through a bit more about how that looks and how it happens.
Yeah, so AI is very, very helpful now in a couple of things. Number one, it's reviewing the information that is available about the company in public sources and effectively distilling it into a set of value drivers. We take it one step further and we really look very closely at all of the statistics associated with that company's value proposition so that we have a good library of those. The next thing that AI does is it allows you to effectively parse the conversations that have had between a seller and the customer and extract from those conversations pointers to the pain points that the customer has, the value that the customer wants to get out of a vendor solution, et cetera. So we can now have a much more robust view of value based on what's already in the CRM or call recordings, et cetera. And then number three, it can help us generate compelling images and visuals that will appeal to end customers and to sellers to help them tell their story most effectively.
Gotcha. And how's it going with you? How are you doing around your particular, because I know that you said there's a couple of competitors. So are you seeing that the stuff that you're doing is being adopted by your competitors, or are you ahead of the curve? What's the sort of unique value prop that ValueCore is bringing to this when people are evaluating alternatives for this type of solution?
What is going very, very well is many of our customers, and increasingly our newer customers, are identifying new use cases for our solution very quickly. So we are across several of our customers that we have signed up in the last 12 to 18 months, moving on to the second use case or the third use case, i.e. starting with the sales organization, moving quickly into the customer success organization within a matter of months. Number two is our customers are very, very excited and happy with how we have leveraged AI to extract all of the key value statistics that they have worked so hard to assemble over the past several years. We are identifying those, ingesting those, and now making those value statistics available to their end customers. Number three is roadmap, and they're very excited about how we are leveraging AI today and over the next several weeks and months, turning it on to even additional use cases that allow them to do things that they have wanted to do for a long time very quickly, i.e. leverage conversations and data points that they have in their infrastructure to now convert that into more customer facing materials that points to the value they deliver. I would say at the same time, that in the sense that sales teams and marketing teams are experimenting with lots of different sales platforms, AI coaching solutions, et cetera. They have a lot on their plate. So to get the full management bandwidth and focus on how to integrate everything together is almost a new muscle that our customers are building at the same time. So there is a little bit of work to do there. I will say that being on site with people has been something we've been doing a lot, and that goes a long way. Being on site, whiteboarding, bringing these things together, we are getting breakthroughs sometimes in some of those on-site sessions.
What's the size of your company? How big is it right now?
We have dozens of people globally across a variety of functions, and we're doing very well. It's a healthy business. It's growing, profitable.
And who's your ideal customer?
Ideal customer is an organization that has 20 to 500 sales reps that is selling a solution that costs between at least $50,000 up to several $100,000 in year one. Their sales cycles tend to take 2 to 3 months to several months. There tend to be several people involved in the buying process. And they tend to exchange a good bit of information with the customer over the life of the sales process, understanding the customer's environment, doing some kind of technology audit, if you will. In fact, customers that do POC, if our customer does POCs for their customers, that can be a good thing because the POC then generates a data set that can be ingested, and you can then forecast the value you can deliver to that customer based on what's in the POC.
Yeah, I would imagine that that's a big need today. I mean, the POC issue is a huge thing that's confounding a lot of my clients, and they need to be able to figure out some way to make the value of that short period of time show something that's measurable enough to get them to buy. And we see a lot of tire kickers who just do POC after POC after POC, and they never convert. So that's an interesting issue that's going on with AI products in particular.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, imagine the handshake you would have with a customer to say, listen, yeah, happy to do a POC, but coming out of the POC, here's the value analysis we're going to agree on. Did it save you here? Did it improve this? Did it improve this? Let's make sure we understand your current KPIs and statistics, and where would you need to get to across each of these to make it worth your while? And if we do, look, it's going to be worth an extra $1 million. Do we agree? Yes. Okay. Then let's take the next step.
Well, great. Well, look, I'm excited for you. I think it's a great opportunity, and I agree with you. I think I'm amazed. I talk to a lot of clients who don't seem to have like a process for this, and I can see how important it would be to make it a disciplinary, like must-have part of any sales engineering process. So appreciate it. And again, thanks for the support that you've been giving us, and we look forward to having more opportunities to do some stuff together.
Thanks, Warren. Appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you for listening to the CRO Spotlight podcast. The CRO Collective's mission is to help CROs succeed and help founders and CEOs build CRO-ready organizations. You can find out more information about our services at thecrocollective.com. That's thecrocollective.com. And we look forward to having you join us next time.